And we're live. Welcome to the Crafty Boys, where there's three of us, and we drink beer, and we talk about it, and then we talk about other crap. Hello, boys. How are you doing this week?
Hello.
Locke, let's start with you. What beer are you drinking?
Alrighty. So this week. So lately, I've been seeing a lot of folks in Ontario doing Southern Cross style IPAs. So New Zealand or Australia IPA styles. What that means? Well, it's a good question. So far, it's been pretty hazy, pretty hop emulsified. Maybe not very sweet, which I like.
All right.
But this is a Chili Tins.
Oh, Chili Tins from Nickel Brook.
Yes, Nickel Brook, not Nickelback.
I would have liked something like, well, the show's done. We can't talk about Nickelback. It's a thing. But Chili Tins, New Zealand style IPA. Let's crack that baby open.
So cracking this open, let's see what we got here.
And while he's cracking it open, I just want to mention that Shane and I were at Beer Fest last week, and we'll talk about it more. But Nickelbrook was in attendance, and Chili Tins was available.
Oh, interesting.
We didn't try it, but
I was just gonna say, I don't remember drinking it.
No, we didn't.
We were very selective with our choices for beer.
We were.
Okay, so like we were saying, kind of a hazy sort of a thing.
Nice.
Big effervescent head on it. Okay, I'm getting kind of notes of grapefruit.
Okay. And over. Okay.
Yeah, that's sort of a softer grapefruit, maybe a little bit of what is that there?
Grapefruit?
No, there's a flavor that I'm trying to place.
Dead babies.
Echinacea.
No, it's fresh cut grass.
Fresh cut. Now,
how do you know what fresh cut grass tastes like?
I know what it smells like, and that's what I'm saying. Is it tastes like grapefruit, but the nose on it has just a hint of fresh cut grass.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a tasty, refreshing drink. It's sadly the other side of Ontario getting cold for this to be optimal. This might be the last nice weekend we get. So, but this evening, it's dropped substantially. It's getting chilly out here.
Yeah, it's kind of like how we've had it for the past 5 or 10 years, where that sort of the perceived easing from one season to another is now just like a couple weeks. Okay, well that was Chili Tins.
Oh, and let me just give you some finish up with some specs.
Oh, is there lore?
4.5%. So this is sessionable.
Okay.
It describes the pour color as tropical dream, which it's first I've encountered that term. But yes, small batch is the other thing that it advertises here. So there we go. Moving on.
All right. The beer that we have tonight, myself and Alan, since we went to Beer Fest last week, I hope you watched our live stream that we did from the bleachers at Royal Athletic Park in Victoria. But this week we're doing a Vancouver-based beer. It's called Craft Beer is Dead. It is from Superflux over there on Clark Drive.
And the entire label is just the barcode.
Yeah, exactly. Just the entire thing.
That's a very Designer's Republic kind of move.
Yeah. I kind of thought it was just artistic until I went up to the till and they actually just scanned any old barcode on the label.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's an India Pale Ale. It comes in at 9.5% alcohol by volume.
Holy Moses!
And what did I just say? 6.5?
No, you said 9.5.
That's why I paused and thought, wait, what did I just say? 6.5. Sorry.
6.5. There we are.
And this, I cannot find this on their website, so I think this might be a limited run, but who knows and who cares? I'm popping it open because I'm dying to. Ooh, I like that. It's sort of a sweet kind of aromatic experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very pilsnery color, pilsnery sort of.
But don't taste like a pilsner.
I don't know if you can tell on the camera. Of course, it beams out. But anyway,
What
basically, yeah, there's it's pretty
Tastes
wow.
like.
Does this is approaching Fat Tug smell? Like the smell-o-vision is working if you like Fat Tug. But
I would say, I mean, this is whatever we have Superflux. It's very, very, very good. I don't think it's fair to compare anything to Fat Tug.
Nope, this is definitely it's my point is that it's starting to sort of smell like
It's
Fat
got
Tug
like
to me.
a heavy, piney, resiny.
Yeah, but this does not taste like Fat Tug.
Yeah. So what is it? Okay. So what does it taste like?
I'm getting notes of the grapefruit, which you would expect. Very resiny, piney, but not as sharp as a bite as you would get with a Fat Tug.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very much a. It's very.
I'm going to put this more into the realm of, say, fresh squeezed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I would agree with that. It's just so mild. I was not expecting. I was expecting more, but I'm okay with that.
It's very good. It's very good.
It's a beer that you could actually have more than one of.
Yes, and it's actually a little bit more quaffable than probably is safe. You know?
Yes, it's 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. Yeah, it's a good point.
Find yourself taking off your clothes and running around. Just running around.
I find the name of the beer and the marketing behind it kind of interesting. Shane, when you and I were at the beer store and we were picking our selections for the next few weeks, so we made sure that we have the same beer for the next 6 weeks, first one starting today, we were talking to the sales guy there who was, I guess he was assistant manager, and he used to be a beer rep in Vancouver. And so he was dishing on a lot of the stuff about how the craft beer industry in Vancouver and now here in Victoria is kind of on the decline post-pandemic.
That is true.
And so this beer here is kind of like a bit of a response to what's going on.
Okay, and when we say decline, what do we mean? Like, what would a decline mean? Just lower sales, or are we talking more the?
Well,
is this the decline of Rome and the seed of Roman culture and virtue as being?
Just to give an example, and I won't mention any brewery names or anything because I mean this is public and we don't want to have to deal with any legalities and stuff like that. But there was a large craft beer brewery, well-established craft beer brewery at the beginning of the pandemic when the restaurants started to have to, they could have limited number of patrons, so they had a limited amount of money coming in. Like their income was severely decreased. They have all these bar taps to fill. Now, a keg of beer would normally run about $160, give or take, depending on the beer. There was a local large brewery who was offering these restaurants a break. It was $80 for a keg, so half price, but you had to buy so many, and you had to buy a variety of their kind, basically taking over all of the taps in the restaurant and shutting everybody else in. So there's this movement of anti-competition where a lot of these smaller breweries that are trying to build up to the same size as this one who undercut everybody, they're finding it's an environment in which they can't win. And
England in the 90s.
These larger breweries are doing this with the purpose of cutting them out, and basically, as this fellow suggested, the fast. What did he say? The fast train to the bottom or something.
Race to the bottom.
Yeah, the fast race to the bottom.
Yeah, basically just undercutting everybody, and it is so sad.
And when you do that, you stifle creativity.
Yeah, because it's unfortunate.
Now that said, no. Just playing devil's advocate here.
Sure.
It's a cutthroat business, and
sure.
I sort of have seen, examples of people taking, a business model that's borderline reprehensible, like something that's so cheap and cheesy that it's really, but then take that model and apply it usefully, valuably, and do a good job using that to do other kinds of good. Like one example I would say would be Witherspoons, right, in England. Whatever else they've done wrong in terms of their food, I think they've done a lot right in terms of preserving heritage architecture, and I think they've also done right in terms of having a broad and genuinely competitive selection of beers, right? And having an international element to bringing in different product, right? So I mean, you can use the business strategy of a race to the bottom in one sort of target area of your business model usefully, so that you can concentrate on the other elements. That would be where you could fairly use that, right?
Yeah,
I think it is one of those things that it makes me sad that because the industry has been so vibrant for, like, I don't know, I'll say the last 15 years. Just an arbitrary number. But where you've had a lot of breweries that have been creative, you had a lot of partnerships, you had a lot of collaborations, you had all these things going on. And the problem is, unless you are interested in the product, if you are the person who's like, I'd like to go to get a beer, but I'd like to be selective with the beer I get because I like certain types, I like certain flavors, where a lot of people will just go to the restaurants, pub, bar, whatever, and just give me a beer. They don't really care what it is. But people that are, in that sort of foodie version of a beer person, is there actually a name for somebody, a craft beer enthusiast? Beer nerd?
It's a beer nerd. Yeah.
Okay. So the beer nerd sort of people are going to be the ones who suffer the most, because with this whole race to the bottom of undercutting prices and having been influenced by the pandemic and all this kind of stuff, eventually we're going to go to any beer store or any restaurant or pub, and our selection is going to be pilsners by Budweiser and IPAs by, I don't know, insert terrible beer maker here. Coors, yeah. The Coors IPA. I'm assuming there must be one. But
I don't think so.
So, I mean, this is the thing, and the information we got was basically that these breweries are so incredibly being punished by not being partners in making stuff, or trying to grow the entire beer market. I mean, we saw I remember one time going to my favorite bookstore on Main Street, and a bookstore was closing a couple blocks away because they were tearing down the building for the SkyTrain, and he was so outraged. Why are they like? We need to save this other bookstore. I want this area around Main and Broadway to be like a book mecca. I want people to come here, have a wide assortment of bookstores to choose from, and pick their favorite. And that, but they're still coming to the area where these breweries are not being treated fairly. They're not. I wouldn't say be treated fairly. They're not working together all of a sudden, and basically that's trickling down to the places where you would buy the product, because like the beer store in Christmas Village, in Olympic Village, is a place called Legacy, and part of the information we learned at Beer Fest was the people that are in charge of buying the beer, that are actually wanting to have an assortment of things to choose from, are now just stocking things that they know will sell. In a way, they're not giving people the opportunity to actually discover new things. And the guy at Beer Fest was very critical of Legacy. Like the guy that was like the brain there for getting stuff was left out of frustration, went to another store. Like this kind of stuff is happening now, and it kind of made me sad. But by the way, I want to say here, shout out to Dickie's Beer Reviews. Cheers, sir. We are very happy you're here. Welcome to our non-professional, just hanging out, drinking beer show. Yep. We hope you come back again, or say hello. Ask us questions. Let's talk. Or come join us on the show. Why not? We'll send you the link.
Ask us anything. Where were we on the night of September 14th?
Yeah. September 14th, 1978. Where the hell were you? A badge shows up on the camera. No. But basically, yeah. I mean, it made me sad that an industry that for the last while, that the impression I was getting for the insiders, the people that I talked to, the brewmasters, that they were very, very collaborative and very, like, if a new brewery opened up, they were like, dude, bring it on. What kind of stuff are you bringing to the table? Yeah. Where now that's apparently not happening as readily as it used to.
Right, yeah. So now it's a fight over market share.
Yes.
Cheers from Nelson Island to
I think
Mr. Julian Price. Thank you.
I think it may also be the case that this runs in cycles. Like,
totally.
Like, it could simply be that that's where we are. And now there's going to be a process whereby a new mainstream is defined, and then a new bunch of creative types come in and say, why does it have to be that way? And do it a bunch of other ways, right?
That's right. I mean, I don't think it's realistic to say that the craft beer industry, at least here locally on the west coast of Canada, or the Pacific Northwest area, is going to necessarily die out. I mean, really, the craft beer industry has been around here since probably the mid to late 80s now. So, I mean, we're looking at we're pushing almost 40 years, or 30 years? 30 years.
Math is hard.
I stopped going to school.
Some vignettes in that time. I think maybe peak brewery happened in the sort of the Canby district. Maybe sort of 2016 or so, like the vibrancy of like you could basically just sort of wander around, and every other building would have a different brewery in it, and so you could just kind of coast from all through the district, and just and it was all very sort of a weird mix of urban and small towny, because it was still a very much an industrial neighborhood,
Right.
and something that ultimately is changing and will be lost forever, shortly.
I don't think so. I think it's been around long enough. It's maybe we're gonna go into a bit of a lull for a little while, but it'll rebound. It'll go back.
That's true. Yeah, that could totally happen. I mean,
but you know what?
Well, I just mean that district isn't gonna stay industrial for forever.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But Beer Fest wasn't all doom and gloom. It was actually a pretty decent event. It was a little bit smaller this year than in past years, but I think Shane and I had a really good time.
Yeah, I had a very good time. I was not. I was able. What's this? Prices are too damn high.
Okay, well then Julian would have been in luck because prices were about half as much this year.
At the what for the tickets?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That does not surprise me.
Increasingly sorry I missed that.
But
so the highlights. What were your favorites?
Okay, well we did a bit of a stream last week, which I do remember doing it. I don't necessarily remember what we said. And it wasn't at the end. So we still.
This is on reflection later on, remembering back.
So for me, my personal favorite was from booth number 46, Bayview Brewing. It was their Dilly Idol, which was a dill pickle ghost, and it was surprisingly good, like shockingly good. Like I got it on a bit of a larf. I thought it was going to be garbage. No, It was awesome. What a mixture!
Yeah, I was surprised, like incredibly so. Like I thought when I saw that, and Alan was like, "We have to go try this one." I thought right away, I'm like, I don't think that.
I don't want to throw up.
But then I thought, okay, let's try it. So then we went, we had it, and I was pleasantly surprised that I was not freaking out. Oh, craft beers in general, the prices are too high. Well, yeah. But
well,
hey, Justin and the provinces need their cuts, so you gotta accept it, Jules.
Oh, don't get it going. Don't get them going. So some other things. These are some of the other things that I tried from Ace Brewing. They had their Fuck Bomb Blackberry Creamsicle Sour.
That was incredibly good.
They didn't call it that, but that was pretty good. Beacon Brewing, which was a new one from Sydney, BC. They had this awesome 1970s van. Done up in metallic blue paint and mags and everything. It had like taps on the side. We tried their muffin top blueberry corn lager. That's actually something I've noticed is a bit of a trend out here lately is corn lagers. And I don't understand why.
Well, I can tell you exactly why. Corn lagers are becoming more of a thing because they've basically, I mean, people that brew beer have known this for a very long time, but it is gluten friendly. So you get a different profile, you get all kinds of stuff, but that is, I think anyway, just from because people that a couple of people I've been hanging out with, the guys you met last week, Alan, but a couple other people, a couple of them are gluten can't process sensitive, so. That was the thing. I could try the ciders and that kind of stuff, but do they have corn-based beers? And I'm like, I don't know, but there might be. So they did find a couple apparently that were there at Beer Fest. So they were happy to try them. So I think that it is a market that's going to grow a little bit because of if they don't cater to people that have gluten intolerance, then that's going to hurt them, in the pocket, because there's already this whole trend of young people are not gravitated, they're staying away from alcohol, they're trying to be more healthy, blah 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 blah,
Scared of
and
peanuts.
scared of peanuts, exactly. They love hand sanitizer, but there you go, Julian. Thank you so much, sir. But essentially, yeah, I mean, there's this whole market that they're not catering to, and a very quick answer is to either make some beer that is made of apples, or sorry, not beer, cider. Blah, blah. But
Beer that's
that
made of cider is an awesome idea. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, there's all of these things that have happened that basically are stuff that we need to recognize, and I would actually like to hang out with people that have issues with their with gluten, because we could introduce them to all kinds of corn-based things and educate them on beer is not just wheat and barley.
That's right. Also, we had from Cowdog Brewing, we had their Big Teefs, TEFS IPA,
Yep.
which was interesting. It was different. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. I was expecting like an IPA, like maybe not Fat Tug, but something along those lines. I don't know. It had like a bit of a malty profile to it. I wasn't expecting. It was still good though. Barbados Rum Lager from Fern and Cedar Brewing. That was a new one. I have to admit, I wasn't too big on that one.
No.
What else did we try here?
Why were you big on that one?
The rum just didn't work. It wasn't like it was just like aged in rum barrels or something. It was actually it seemed like it was infused with rum, and the flavor.
Right.
The
It
flavor
was yeah, it was sort of like putting. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting the picture.
Yeah. We tried from Howl Brewing mango jalapeno tapache.
Okay.
Tapache. That was interesting.
Mango jalapeno. Sorry, I just pulled up the transcript from our live stream.
Oh, okay.
We liked the mango jalapeno, which we don't say
was
what
interesting.
brewery it came from. We also liked the dill, which we talked about a bit. We also liked cherry bomb, cherry bombings. No, what was it called? Cherry something. It was a cherry cherry beer that was quite good. We enjoyed that one immensely, apparently, according to the transcript.
Was that the
When you say a cherry beer, was it a creek?
No, it was just a fruity kind of. There
was
were
it
a
the
lot
cherry
of fruit.
poppins?
Cherry Poppins, thank you. That's what it was. Because in the transcript, I apparently talked about the porn star from the '80s called Cherry Poppins. Anyway, the ghosts, the dill, the jalapeno. We also enjoyed it's right here. I just saw it. The bouncy castle. We talked a lot about the bouncy castle and pretzels. But and then we just started talking about stuff that we normally do.
The
whatever.
Piache latte from
that is the one I'm trying to find. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to look for.
Was the winner. That was a really
we did that because we were making fun of the name a little bit, and somebody said that doesn't actually mean what you think it means. It means sin in French, and it's like, oh, okay. So, good job, BC education system. From the 80s and 90s. But essentially, yeah, that one was really good. That surprised us. We had that one just on a lark, and it turned out to be one of the big winners of the day. So, and we had a bunch of other ones. There were definitely some. There was a couple that, they had these grandiose flavor profile descriptions, and then you drink it, and it's like, I taste water. So some of them didn't work for me, definitely. But overall,
It's interesting.
yeah,
You tend to get attracted to the name of the beer more than the actual beer itself. There was one. I'm just looking through the flyer. There was one that I wanted to try that I never got around to. I forgot. It was from a brewery in Alberta called Exhale Brew Company,
Heard of them?
right.
and it was called their "See You Next Tuesday," which
Yeah.
CUNT.
Yeah.
I wanted to try it just for that. Just for that. They also had a Queen Bee, which I assume was like some sort of a honey lager. That would have been
Yeah.
interesting. But then this
That one
is
actually did
interesting.
have. My dad had it, and I tried it, and it was actually quite good. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay. Then this beer is interesting. I don't know what it is, but it says you can buy this beer unless you are Anish Kapoor.
Really?
Yeah. So everybody can have that beer except for Anish Kapoor.
Why not? That's
Okay.
so sad.
Screw Anish Kapoor.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that the brewmaster's cousin or something? What?
I don't. I figured it was somebody political, and you guys would know. And so I tried to make it. I didn't say I didn't know who it was because I didn't want to look like an idiot. But if Locke
No, I
says
have
he
no
doesn't
idea.
know, then I'm not an idiot.
Well,
It
yeah,
does
I
not
don't,
matter.
I don't know if I go that far. I'm not, I do all right. I like to think, but yeah, you'd be wrong to over rely there.
But other than
Okay,
that,
who's Anish Kapoor? Somebody look it up.
Anish Kapoor, I can tell you exactly what it is, but here you are. So Anish Kapoor. Really? That's not what I was thinking. I'm wrong. Or at least I could be wrong. Anish Kapoor is a British Indian sculptor specializing in installation art and conceptual art. Born in Mumbai, he lives in the UK.
Well, Anish Kapoor, if you try going to Exhale Brew Company in Alberta, you will not be able to buy that particular beer.
It's
Sucks
so
to be
sad.
you.
But today is actually a very special day. It is the 133rd birthday for Agatha Christie.
Oh.
I posted this actually earlier
doesn't look
today.
a day over 132.
I know. Yeah, she is looking fine. But I have it in my calendar because I have a few authors in my calendar that pop up to remind me of their birthdays. I mean, these authors are long dead. But this one popped up, and I haven't really mentioned any of the other authors. I just quietly say, "Oh, that's so awesome! I like that author." But this one, I'm like, I'm sorry, this is Agatha Christie.
Well, here's the thing: Agatha Christie dealt in death such that her being dead is a little bit meta on bringing her up. So go on.
Well, the sad thing is when I posted it today on the Book of Face, only 2 people know who it is. The others have no idea who the hell this person is, because I did not mention her by name on purpose. I just said happy birthday on your 133rd year, whatever, and whatever I said, and a couple of people have commented on it saying, "Oh, who's this?" Some of them, of course, are in jest, but there's definitely some that they don't know who this author or they don't know who the person is. So it just kind of made me sad because I chose one of her sort of famous photos that was in like a news article in like, I don't know, 1971 or something. But anyway, happy birthday to Agatha Christie, and which, by the way, is not. This is because Kenneth Branagh, for the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, has actually done. And he's the 3rd Perot film has come out recently, and I actually was kind of really thinking about rewatching because I watched a bunch of it back in the day, but there was a Perot BBC series has been playing for a long time with the same actor. The actor who played the villain in the film Iron Eagle. But anyway, not important. But he played Perot for a long time, like a TV series, several movies and things. But Branagh is playing Perot in this particular series. So I think the latest one is Haunting in Venice, I think, which is based on
and one of the things that Agatha Christie famously said about depictions of Poirot that she had seen is that they never got the mustache right. And so I can only wonder what they would have made of the latest attempt.
Branagh is sporting quite the mustache. In the Perot TV series, the actor, it was sort of a very thin mustache with the curls on the end. Branagh's got like a big bushy one with curls on the end. So
it has antlers. It has
exactly. It has antlers. So I'm hoping that these films continue. Here's the thing, I haven't actually seen them. I need to watch these films because I am a huge fan of Agatha Christie. The film, I just looked it up just now. This particular one, A Haunting in Venice, is based on her Halloween Party novel. So, which I know I have read, but a very long time ago. But I might go back and reread each of the novels and then see the films as whatever they're associated with. So I don't know. I just get really excited about authors because I'm an author myself, but also I've actually just realized that the Writers Festival in town is back after a hiatus over the holidays. And the holidays. What did I say? The holidays? I meant the pandemic. And I might actually go because I've not gone that often because a lot of the stuff is during the day. So if you're working and doing stuff, you tend not to duck out to go and hang out for 3 or 4 hours to some author talking about their poetry or whatever. So anyway, that's my nerdy author stuff, being all excited about things.
Cool. And happy birthday,
happy birthday to Agatha Christie, who died I think in 1976 if I remember correctly. She died at like 85ish or so. Because here's the thing that I had forgotten about Agatha Christie, and I remember reading this a couple of years ago. She was born in like 1890. Like she was like in that other century. So to see her, I had to look it up today. How old is Agatha Christie? Were she still alive? 133. Holy hell! So yeah, but anyway, it's kind of like thinking back on like Lord of the Rings and Tolkien dying, and I think Tolkien died in like 73, I think. So a lot of these big authors that have been huge for years. And are getting, every so often they get these little resurgence of popularity as younger people discover them.
Have any of you watched the Foundation?
I haven't. I actually saw the trailer for the second season recently, and somebody that I know said, "Oh my God, have you watched Foundation? It's so good." So I might have to check it out. I tried watching The Expanse.
Okay. And what did you think?
I could not get through like the first episode.
Really?
No, actually, no, wait a minute. That's not true. The third episode. Because I did go back and actually look because what's his face? Who played Punisher?
Don't know.
I've forgotten the actor's name, but anyway, but he's the investigative dude, and he was fascinating to watch. So I enjoyed his performance, but the tech part. This is the weird thing. Reading the first book, I loved the fact that the science and the technology, all that kind of stuff, was very rudimentary. advanced but still very basic, and there's all these
Yeah,
restrictions.
yeah.
And I like that sort of reality to it. But the TV shows explanation of that, I don't know. I got lost a bit. I didn't enjoy how they were depicting everything. I will go back to it. I will definitely go back to it.
Okay.
But I do want to see. But Foundation, I'm revisiting sort of again, thinking about it. But also, what's that other show? Babylon 5. I had never seen Babylon 5.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, it's a treat, isn't it? It's a hidden gem.
And so I just started watching. I'm partway into the second season now. And I've enjoyed that immensely because I know it was filmed in North Van for its run. And also, so I recognize a few actors, local people here and there. But overall, it just the context of when that show was running originally was at the same time as like the tail end of TNG and the beginning of Deep Space Nine. So to see this show that's budget was nowhere near Paramount still being able to hold its own was amazing. And not to mention the lead character from the first season, whatever his name was, Shepard. Shepard. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the guy that was running the station for the first season, and then in the second season, he's suddenly off living on the home world of one of the species in the show. And I thought, oh, that's weird. I wonder why that guy left the show. And it's because he had significant schizophrenia. He had suffered with it for his life, but it was as he was getting older, it was getting worse. It was harder to control. And so he left the show because he was not able to really perform. And he and the guy that created created Babylon 5 made a pact. He said, don't tell people about my condition, please. It's a personal thing. And but when I'm dead, feel free. So that actor passed away in 2012, and then a couple years later, the guy that created the creative Babylon 5 actually said, "Okay, I can actually tell you why the guy left the show now. He was ill. He was not able to control his disease as well as he could as a younger person." And we just said, hey, if it's too hard for you to do this, then we'll write you out of the show. We'll kill your character we'll continue the arc of what the character was doing. And if you feel well enough, maybe you can come back, do the odd episode, which I believe he did. I haven't seen him yet, but maybe he does. But yeah, and I was kind of like touched by that because all of these actors that were in that show were, in hindsight, we're talking about how they all kind of helped him get through the first season because there were times where he was really having problems, and which explains a lot of how his performance was and stuff like that. So, I mean, I would love to believe that he suddenly was thinking that was all real, but of course I'm sure that wasn't the case. But what a great show to end off your career on! Like, I mean. I've enjoyed it immensely. It is kind of kooky. It is kind of definitely, it's somewhere in between any Star Trek show and say Lost in Space, which, by the way, speaking of Lost in Space, they had one of the characters in the show is the guy that played the kid in Lost in Space back in the day, Will Robinson, and in the 60s, I think, is when that show was out. And there were a couple episodes where the actress who played his mother was in Babylon 5. So I kind of like that. I love that kind of stuff. It brings that sort of humanity to shows where you could easily dismiss, I don't know, NCIS Yellowknife. And you could dismiss that show for being just a cash grabby kind of thing. But the thing is, there are people that are behind the scenes that are actually doing stuff. So I kind of enjoy that sort of part of it. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to shut up now because I have more beer to drink.
I don't. I'm all out.
I am sipping away.
All right, I still sipping away. So the show continues if we're still sipping.
So yeah. So it means, Alan, because you don't have to sip, you talk.
Oh, I get to talk now?
You go.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's right.
You go talk.
I don't have anything prepared.
Hang on. I have a new chair that I bought a little while ago. Hang on. Here we go. I'm leaning back now. Go ahead, Alan.
All right.
Nice
so
one.
have you guys been watching Ahsoka?
I have a little bit. I've seen the first episode.
It's a little bit of a slow burn to start.
But it's cool. I like it.
And actually, the week before, so like the last 2 weeks.
Now, I have a question, though. I do have a question.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on with her? Is that a headdress, or are those tentacles? And
they're
why
like
are they
tentacles?
Why are they in
remember
spandex?
What they're actually called in the canon of the show.
Yeah. But they've got
like
spandex
tentacles
on them, do they not?
Yeah, I mean, they're not real. Like Rosario Dawson has got like some sort of
but
like what
I'm talking about is for a show that the special effects are usually pretty good.
Oh, you're talking about the show, the actual.
Am I to understand that it's part of their culture that she wears like a head leotard or something?
Actually, yes, because what she's actually wearing, what Rosario Dawson is wearing,
right,
is actually what the character wore in the show. Yeah, they actually. I don't know. Did you see the latest episode?
No, I don't. I believe that I did not know.
Okay, well, I won't spoil it, but I will say this: that there are flashback scenes in that episode, taking that character back to the animated series, which of course was called,
but done as live action.
Exactly, but the animated series, the character at those times had a certain headdress, had a certain she had her thing like for being a Jedi Padawan, and they did match those. They screen matched them, which is nice. So the character in the animated series is actually wearing the same stuff they wore in the live action, which makes sense because Filoni, who created the animated series essentially and all of the sort of subsequent ones, is the one who's running this show.
Yeah.
So there have been so many episodes so far of the. I think there's only 6, if I remember correctly. Maybe 8. No, I think there's 6. Anyway, but essentially, Filoni, if I were him, is basically having like a wet dream every episode because he's able to do he's recreated stuff in the live action that they did in the animated series. So, which is kind of a cute little nod, and I like that kind of stuff. So, but again, he's getting to do stuff in live action now that was reserved for the animated world. So, but I like it. I'm very, very happy about the show.
I'm enjoying it. Big time. I think it's good. It's not as good as Andor. In my opinion, Andor is hard to beat.
I agree. Andor is the bar that's been established you need to hit.
It resolves something that had bothered me pretty much since the prequels, which is that when I saw Star Wars for the first time, and I think when the general public saw Star Wars for the first time, they'd never seen anything done with that level of special effects before.
Yeah.
And they didn't treat it as a children's show.
Yeah.
These were supposed to be convincing effects for broad audience, including adults. And when I thought there was something that, and it's a natural enough thing to do when you become a parent to want to address, well, okay, Jesus, now that I've got kids, I want my stuff to be safe for kids. But I kind of feel like they juvenilized the whole universe in those prequel films.
And you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And what Andor was.
Did we lose him?
Locke, come back. You're making a very important point. Oh, his internet's failing.
Internet failing.
What Locke is trying to
frozen
say
in carbonite.
is basically, well, actually, Alan, the biggest example is Willow. The Willow TV series. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't.
You know what? It's gone. They removed it from Disney Plus. Yep. Locke's internet has died. They actually, another example would be the re-release of ET back in 2002.
Yeah,
with the digital replacement of the guns and stuff.
Well, and I mean, getting back to like the prequels, like Episode
Right.
1.
Oh.
Your internet is failing, Locke.
Anyway, as I was saying, like say with Jar Jar, I mean that character in general was meant for like little kids. You know, he stepped in poop in the street. You know, he was stealing. Or he got into a little fight with Sebulba. There's all this childish antics,
which
that was going
for
on.
A character is okay. Like you and I don't like it, and to me that's all right because it is corny, it is ridiculous.
Yes,
but I kind of give Jar Jar a bit of a pass because I could see what Lucas was doing, but no one paused long enough to say no. Yeah. George, no. But that's the problem with some of the prequel stuff is that
out of all
no
that
one told
debacle,
George Lucas no.
The only one I feel sorry for is Ahmed Best.
Oh yeah, that poor guy.
That poor bastard.
Because, Locke, you seem to be moving. You're not frozen anymore.
Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah.
You were saying about juvenilization of the audience, or no, the character
of the universe. The whole thing was, it was turned into a kid's universe, and then what Andor did was it sort of brought us back to something that looked like it was from maybe the same director that gave us THX 138.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Al and I were just commenting about, is that the E.T., when it was re-released in 2002, had a bunch of they digitally removed the guns from the movie and stuff like that, which eventually was walked back because if you look it up, Spielberg is at like San Diego Comic-Con and he's saying, I'm going to do a 4K release or whatever the hell the announcement was of the thing. Do you guys want the original cut or do you want the one that we made for the anniversary release? And the audience was like, fuck your stupid anniversary release. Give us give us the film that you visualized. Don't give us the one that you decided to do it because you had kids. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you? So they did do that. But the biggest offender is Willow. The Willow television program that came out late last year, earlier this year, I can't remember exactly when it came out, was supposed to be this, what happened years later, this goofy universe that was created that was silly and just bizarre, but had some really great hero moments. It was a tongue-in-cheek sort of Princess Bride-y kind of thing. And then they had a TV series, and I was excited. I'm like, I'm so jazzed about this. And then I watched it, and I was a faithful viewer. I watched the whole thing before I was going to shit on it. And it was the worst piece of garbage that has hit the screen in a long time. And here's the thing, and I'm justified in saying this because it was so badly received that Disney removed it from their streaming service. It's gone. It's back in the vault. Are you kidding?
I actually quite liked it.
Well, here's the thing. I like the idea that they introduced things like that guy with the skeleton mask was basically running around fucking a bunch of women and having children and la da da da. I love that. That's great. You had the new introductions of different things in the universe, like that whole under the sand creature pulling their cart along. Like there were all these great elements that was building a world on top of it. But then you had the characters that were inhabiting it, where they were talking and speaking like they were a 21st century person. Dialogue was very modern, like all these things that did not belong in the universe.
And to be fair, until I just Willow wasn't it, right? It was Tolkien for Americans.
The film was. I don't know
right?
what
It was
the
Tolkien
TV show was.
done with American accents.
Well, and that's the problem, is that these characters.
Right.
Hello, Dash.
There were elements of it that were a bit millennial, if you see what I mean, and you know, like it was a bit over the top in the way they did certain things, but that said, the Christian Slater cameo was quality.
Oh well, yeah, I gotta say, I mean, it was done.
Kind of ridiculous, but it was quality.
Hey, well, when Christian Slater appears in Star Trek VI, it was classic as well. I don't know what it is about Christian Slater. He shows up in random places.
He does the cameo job very well, because he's got that sort of.
But I'm sorry, I could not get past
on his face, like he just let one rip. You know,
exactly. That's exactly a good description. Pump up the fart volume. But for that TV show, I did a bit of research into the writers behind the Willow show, and the bulk of them, if not all of them, this was like their second or third job. Like we're talking like they're very green writers of a certain generation.
Okay,
Juvenoia is real, people. And yeah, I just could not get past the reality that these were newer writers. They were fresh off the boat, kind of thing, in terms of their careers. But they were not alive when that film came out. They did not seem to understand what that film was. That film
it's a fair
was
point.
The Ewok adventures of movies. Like tongue-in-cheek, totally ridiculous, but the characters treated it as a real universe where these actors, I don't blame the actors, I blame the writers.
Yeah.
And then the directors, but they were not told your character has lived in this universe for a long time. So as you're performing, don't act like a 21st century human on the planet Earth. You are in a different universe. You're in a different place, a fantasy world. Just embrace that. Treat it as seriously as possible, because that is the only way that show pays off. Is you have like Mad Mardigan, being a character who I bring it back to the Blackroot scene in the film itself. There's a scene where this thing is introduced called Blackroot. It's like a piece of licorice or something that you pick up off the ground.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's chewing it. He's giving some to an infant. And then Willow comes up and he's like, what the hell are you doing? Don't give a child Blackroot. Because Willow's a father. Willow has 2 kids. He's not just some rando, character who's walked in off the farm and just decides, I'm going to save the world. He has a history. And so he comes in and he's like, why are you giving an infant Blackroot? That's not good for babies. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And Mardigan, true to his character, says, okay, well, it'll put hair on the kid's chest. And it's like, she won't need a hairy chest. What the hell's wrong with you? And then Willow takes the stuff away. And then the Mardigan character just talks to the baby like you talk to any babies. You see what he did? He stole our Blackroot. Don't worry, I'll get you some more. Like these moments, and that moment always stuck with me because I thought it was hilarious when I watched it a million years ago. But as an adult, I really appreciate it being like, there's no discussion about tobacco. There's no discussion about how bad it is for children. There's no discussion about, hey, kids, stay in school. Like, there's none of that sort of element coming into it. It's just a character disagreeing with another character who's feeding an infant something that may or may not be good. That's not the important part. Who cares? The fact is, these two characters had a real conversation in a fantasy world. And the Willow TV show never even got close. And they did not earn that final episode scene. They did not earn that. That pissed me off. They're like, yes, there's this great mystery and stuff that's going to pay off greatly. And I'm like, no, you're canceled. You're done. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. I'm really, it's that thing where it's like a great novel or a great poem or a great this is used later on and is just abused because whoever wrote it didn't they didn't earn it. They didn't understand the material. They just kind of got hired for a job. They saw the movie, but they didn't really know what they were doing.
If they want to slap it on a
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the feature film.
Well done, Alan.
Sorry, what did you say, Alan?
He was quoting Jurassic Park. They didn't stop to think if they should. Anyway, sorry, you were saying it.
Well done, yes. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The feature film is unwatchable. It is.
I have vague memories of it, but I remember not liking it.
Yeah, they evidently had no idea why people enjoyed the book.
You know, actually, now that you've said that, that's a TV show I need to watch again. Like, that to me is, it's really funny. I had a copy of the series of the novels, and I went to the bookstore and found a hardcover that had all of them in it, including the Mostly Harmless. And I went and bought that and then put my copy into a little library down the road. Just because I felt like I needed to have it. But Alan is pointing out that we're out of beer. We have been streaming for an hour.
It is.
And we'll be back next week, Friday nights, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, or daylight, or whatever the hell we're in right now. But thank you, everyone. We've had a bunch of people watching tonight. We appreciate you immensely. We hope that you will tell people about the show, because we're here just to have fun. We're not trying to monetize a damn thing. We're just trying to be here, have a beer, talk to our friends, and hopefully attract other people to talk to us as well. Yeah. So thank you all for that. Any final words, boys, before we wrap it up?
It's all good. Have a good week, guys.
Yeah, have a good week. And don't forget, the show the show is, of course, sponsored by Crafty Land, approved by Greta, and apparently also Putin. You're an asshole, sir. You're a jerk. We hate you. Get away from us. So thank you all. We'll see you all next week. Bye, everybody. We love you.